Hi there, ladies. Good evening. I hope you are doing well. I'm Shelly. I'm the person behind Taming Frenzy. I have been doing some real thinking behind the scenes and evaluating of Taming Frenzy, of not just the group, but of my blog in general. And let me just kind of explain to you because I said there's some changes coming. When I first started my website 3 years ago, believe it or not, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but 3 years ago, the topics that I talked about were fairly broad. And I've changed the name because it was a horrible name and no one understood. Hey, Tina, no one understood what the acronym was, so I've changed it. But I also started, as I started learning and listening to other people, I started following the guru's advice and the experts' advice. And all the experts out there that tell you that with websites, that the one thing you have to do is that you have to narrow down. You have to decide what one topic you're going to talk about, that you need to get very specific, that you can't talk about a lot of different things, and that you even need to go so far as to write like towards one person and decide, how old is this person and what are her interests and all of those things. And so I've been working on that, but it's been very difficult for me to do that. But I tried it for a while, and to be real honest, it hasn't worked all that well for me. It just has not. Because most sites that you go to, you'll notice that they do follow that conventional wisdom, that they focus on simply one topic. And for a while, I focused strictly on the organizing and the decluttering and those kind of things. And while I like all of that, in fact, if you look over at my bookshelves, you'll see lots of books on that because for so many years it's how I had to live. While I like all of that, that's not the only thing that I have ever really wanted my website to be about. So, and here's the reason why. I would go to those other websites, and while they had great information, great advice, I always left thinking, well, great, but that's just one area of things that I want to learn about. Because here's the thing, you're not a pie. You know, none of us can take our life and neatly divide it into this little slice here that never interacts with this little slice over here. It's not like we can just work on this little slice and once our house is decluttered and our meal plan's made, hey Holly, that those things never impact another slice, which is all the people frenzy, and the demands on our time and the things that the people in our life need from us and that we want to do. We're not a pie. We can't just neatly divide those things up and assume that one slice never touches the other, or at least I can't. Okay? I'm not a pie, and it's not the way I think, and it's not the way I've ever really wanted my site to be. Because in my mind, our whole life is connected. I don't know about you, when my house is a big, terrible mess, as it gets sometimes, it affects everything else. I have to stop and get it cleaned up and get it back in order because it drives other areas crazy. So there is that interconnectedness between all of the different aspects that go on in our lives, and especially in women's lives, because whether we want to admit it or not, our lives are different than the men's in our life are. Okay, so we're not a pie. So I'm going to change the focus of Taming Frenzy and of the blog somewhat, but I'm not going to make it so broad. I'm not going to discuss dog tutus and how to clean your furniture because that is way too broad. But there will be a connecting, overarching big idea, so to speak, and that big idea is this. Okay, and this is something that I believe absolutely from the bottom of my heart with every fiber of my being, and that's this: that all of us have some big thing, for lack of a better term, that we are put on this earth to bring forth, to bring forward, to do, to learn, to achieve, whatever that big thing is, and that is supposed to come out of us. Now, that may be a goal, it may be a dream, it may be some passion that you've got, but those things are meant to be expressed, to be achieved, and that we're better people and the world is a better place when those things come out of us. Now, I've done a lot of thinking over this over the last couple months, and I'm sure there are some people who are going to be sitting there thinking, well, that's all fine and dandy, Shelley, but, I'm just a regular person, and I just get up and I just do my job, or I just do my thing. I don't have a big thing that's supposed to come out. I don't have any great big, goals, dreams, passions, whatever. Well, if I was sitting in your living room having a conversation with you, I would probably tell you that I really don't believe you, to be real honest. Everyone's big thing is defined by them. No two people's big thing is the same. But I think that every person has something. You may have a desire to quit your job and stay at home and start a business. You may have a desire to learn how to paint. You may have always had the dream of traveling and getting as many countries checked off your list. Your goal may be to preserve the family history, and you may be very interested in genealogy and preserving that history so that you can pass it down to your kids and your grandkids. You know, no, there's no limit to big things. Some of you in this group are big animal lovers. Your passion may be to always be in there advocating for the animals and the little critters that need a home. There is no big thing that is too small or that is irrelevant or that is unimportant if it is something that comes from inside you that you feel that you need to let out. Okay, so there's no judgment on big things. There's never going to be a contest with my big things bigger than your big thing. That's just nonsense. That ain't never going to happen in here. Our big thing is as individual as we are, as our fingerprints. So that's going to be the big idea. And here's where things go back and become interconnected. Just like our lives can't be divided into little pieces, our lives also do not exist in a vacuum. And that big thing, those goals, those dreams, those passions, those causes, they don't exist in a vacuum either. And what I have found, and this is just observation, but what I have found is that we have to attack the frenzy on two fronts. We have to attack the outer frenzy, which is the meal plan and the organization and the getting the stuff under control and all of those kind of things, that outer frenzy. We have to get those things under control so that we can get the inner things under control, which is our time management and dealing with the other people and setting our goals and all of those things. So we attack frenzy from the outer and from the inner, so that, and this is the important piece, so that we have time, space, and energy for that big thing to come forth. Because let's face it, while it's nice to have a house that has no clutter and that you always know what you're going to have for dinner, those things are nice, but they are not the be all and end all. They are means to an end. And I think that a lot of times it's easy to forget that those are simply the means to an end. At the end of our life, nobody's going to put on our tombstone, she always had a meal plan. It's going to be those big things that your family, that your friends, that your relatives, and that you are going to look back on, and that are going to have filled up your life and made you feel like your life was great. It is important, but have made your life just that much more worthwhile, and to have made it rich, and to have made you feel like you did what it was God put you on the earth to do. So those are going to be some of the changes. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's not that we're never going to talk about those outer frenzy things, because again, they are interconnected. In fact, the new tagline I've got over on the blog is you'll never achieve the big stuff while you're drowning in the small stuff, because again, things are interconnected, and like I said, we're not a pie, but we don't live in a vacuum either. So those are some of the changes that are coming. I hope y'all have a great week. In the meantime, have a great week. Tame a little bit of your frenzy, and I will talk with you later. Bye.